Hey guys, it's Hazza here, and this video is going to be quite disjointed. I don't really have a script or an idea of what I'm going to talk about, but this is going to be Smart-Arse Gamer episode 3, which has been a long time coming, and it's basically going to be me talking about Beyond Two Souls, because the first thing I want to say, well, past that, dearie me, I'm not very good at doing videos, am I? So, as I was saying, I think Beyond Two Souls is a very, very, very hard game to review. I absolutely applaud anyone that feels they're able to do it. I personally don't feel like I'm able to do that. I just can't review it. Just because it's just so... It's a polarizing game, as seen from the scores that we've seen already. Add on top of that the fact that it's very much affected by choice. And add on top of that it's such a different game to it doesn't really fit the game reviewing methodology that we have in place so far, where we can talk about the gameplay and the graphics and the sound design and the world that we in the game modes. It doesn't have any of that. It's just a single game mode with a very unique way of playing the game. And it's just so hard to review. I just don't feel like I'm able to do it. So I'd rather just kind of talk about it. So, as anyone knows who lives in Europe, it actually only came out yesterday in Europe. It had been out since Tuesday in the US, which again, 2013. Can I get a worldwide release date on like every single game? I could have downloaded it off PSN. I really don't mind. If I could download it on PSN on Tuesday, I would have done that. But we can't do that anymore, can we? We can't. We can't pretend that we're actually living in a modern era and we can actually get hold of digital content very easily these days. But past that, I took a day off from work yesterday, specifically for Beyond Two Souls, because I knew that I wouldn't, after waiting 2 days of basically not going anywhere near the internet, and just waiting to play Beyond Two Souls, I knew I wouldn't have been able to wait the entire day and work. I wouldn't have been able to concentrate as soon as I got the game. I would have wanted to play it, so I took the day off. I had to unfortunately actually go into work to go to a supervision meeting, but I got home at about 2 o'clock. I sat down, I started playing it. I didn't get up from the sofa, apart from toilet breaks and walking around and stuff. I didn't get up from the sofa until 1 o'clock in the morning, at which point I finished the game. So I beat the game in a single sitting, and I loved every minute of it. I loved absolutely every minute of it. It was. I think it's a fantastic experience, fantastic game, and it's probably my game of the year so far. But I just want to talk about a few things. So overall, the story was great. I thought the story was really interesting. They highlighted so many kind of concepts to talk about. And lots of kind of social awareness type things, like the justification of war is a really big one that really spoke out to me, and just like how justified we are in going to these countries and starting up wars against and fighting battles against these people, and causing collateral damage in the process, destroying families, destroying lives. And there was a part of the game about that really, really spoke out to me. It was very, very moving, and the entire game is filled with all these thought processes. And the main theme about the game is obviously like what happens when we die. What is death? Do we just rot in the ground? Do we have a soul? What happens to our soul when we die? And all this is it was actually kind of comforting, and really just when you think about all especially if you get a good ending, it was really very it filled you with all these warm fuzzy feelings, and they were really, really like it just. I'm so bad at talking. This is because I don't have a script to read. Like, I don't have like anything to look through, so I haven't thought about what I'm gonna say or anything. But yeah, there was a lots of feel-good moments. There were lots of really thought-provoking moments. I really enjoyed the game for all those reasons. There was a very interesting part of the game in the fact that, so you know, if you don't want to hear anything about the game, then please don't listen to the rest of this. I won't be spoiling the game, but I will be, you know, talking about it. I know that I personally just didn't want to hear anything about it before I played it, and that's just my personal opinion. And I won't be spoiling any of the story or anything, but I will be talking about kind of how the game's kind of presented and sort of giving like a few hints and sort of a few things that you might do. So just before I go through that, just be aware. But yeah, so the way that the game's presented to you is that it kind of jumps throughout Jodie's lifespan. And so I think the very first mission would probably be around when Jodie's about 23, I'd guess. I'd guess at like 20 to 23. And then you'll jump between that and Jodie's childhood, so probably about 7 or 8 years old. And yeah, so 15 years of a life that you experience. And it's a very odd way of presenting it. And when I first played the game, when I first started playing it, I got about maybe 3 or 4 hours in. Like, I was thinking to myself, like, why is it doing this? Like, I didn't understand why we weren't traveling through the entire game chronologically. Like, the fact that it moved from left to right. The way the timeline is presented in the game, it's explained. It's shown using kind of a wave, and it shows all the chapters. So, and you can see what point during Jodie's lifespan you're going to, so you know whether it's late in her life or early in her life or whatever. But it was very, very odd that at the beginning, why they chose to make this route. Like, at the beginning, it seemed like they chose to do it simply for the sake of it, and it was jarring. Some of the transitions were disjointed, and I honestly, it was probably one of my main criticisms of the game from the early hours. But as I played more and more of it, you begin to see the pieces fit together, and you begin to see the justification of why the game is fit that way. The thing you have to remember when you're playing Beyond Two Souls is that you control Jodie, and that's what happens. You control Jodie, but you are a separate entity from Jodie. In the case of the story, you are the audience. You are watching what's happening. You have control of Jodie, hence the interactive drama part of the game. But you are an audience. So what David Cage is trying to do is he's trying to spoon feed you different clues to the story throughout Jodie's life. So you get different information. You slowly build up the picture of what exactly is going on. And it was such an interesting kind of idea and concept when I thought about it. And when I realised that happened, the game became a lot more satisfying. It was like, oh, where am I going to go next? Or are we going to go back to Jodie's childhood? Or are we going to go back to when she's in the CIA? Or are we going to go even further in the future? Or are we going to go a bit before when she's a teenager? And it's like, oh, it's so exciting to jump back and forward through Jodie's life and experience everything she's experienced. It's so interesting, and it was something that I really enjoyed about the game. And what's cool is that something that's important to note is that as you progress through the game, you eventually fill up the very early stages of Jodie's life, and then the final stages are kind of in chronological order, as you would expect, to give like a conclusion from Jodie's perspective as well as the audience's perspective. So just saying. But yeah, that was very, very cool. And as for the actors, Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe. Oh my god, Willem Dafoe! Like as good as Ellen Page is, Willem Dafoe did an outstanding job. Oh my god, the feels I felt. I could feel like. Oh, I just can't get over it. Like anyone who knows, who's played the game, knows what I'm talking about, and it's very towards the end of the game, and it's a very, very kind of very thought-provoking, moving scene, and almost awe-inspiring. Like literally, like your mouth will drop open, and you'll be like, oh my god. And the way that Willem Dafoe plays that character is outstanding. I think that's probably my favourite scene in the game. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. I think Willem Dafoe played a better character overall. Just for that scene, I think Willem Dafoe gets like the best performance in the game, but Ellen Page played the best character. But that was easily my favourite performance of the game. Ellen Page just played a fantastic character overall. She really, really highlighted and showed what Jodie must be feeling and thinking at certain points. It was incredible to watch. The writing team, again, very, very good, very, very interesting. Lots of really cool tidbits to listen to and talk about. It's probably going to go on for a long time, so I'm sorry if it's too long, whatever. But yeah, it was really good. Bit disappointed about the supporting cast. Sorry. Sorry, I had just stupid thing going on. That one and that one. Okay. Yeah, about the supporting cast, they're a bit bad, to be honest. Like other than Willem Dafoe, I just said a Willem Dafoe. What the fuck? Other than Willem Dafoe and Ellen Page, not a lot of the actors were very they weren't very convincing. They seemed a bit one-dimensional. There's a specific character called Cole, who is probably the third most important character in the game, or at least the third most seen character in the game outside of, and then obviously you have a few other characters that are recurring, but other than that you get Cole, Jodie, and Nathan. I would consider them the three main characters of the game. But Cole, I didn't feel did as good a job. Some of his lines seem to be a bit kind of weirdly delivered at the beginning of the game, but some scenes towards the end of the game, I kind of enjoyed his character a bit more, so I thought he redeemed himself a bit more at that point. Other supporting characters, again, a bit weird. There is one scene in particular where Jodie is a young girl and she involves herself in and she goes to a party basically, and there's all these teenagers there, and they're very stereotypical like teenagers, like they're basically stupid, and it really kind of annoyed me that they were so stereotypical. Like, they seemed really, very stupid. Like, one of the girls there, she's supposed to look somewhat... She's supposed to look and seem somewhat intelligent from the way she talks. But, seriously, like, it just seems so... It seemed quite badly written. Like, it was, again, the justification, like, morally and narratively wasn't there for their actions. They didn't seem, like, very realistic. Like they're following actions, following the cause, so cause and effect. The effect of the cause didn't seem very realistic, is what I'm trying to say, and that kind of annoyed me. And there's another part of the game. Going back to the story, there's something I forgot to say. There's a part of the game called, and it's kind of midway through the game, and it's called Navajo, and it's a single scene called Navajo, and it lasts about an hour. And it just seemed so disjointed from the rest of the game. I can't, like, it just seems so disjointed from the rest of the narrative. Like, it didn't really add much. Like, I honestly, this is also something that my friend Rob said in his review. I'm going to link that review in the description, by the way. He wrote the review for WhatCulture on Beyond Two Souls. It's really excellently written, so I encourage everyone to go and read it, give it a read. It's really, really good. But he said something that I shared a similar opinion with, that the Navajo scene, it just seemed so just out of place, like in context with the rest of the narrative. Like, it didn't really add much. I enjoyed it. He expressed some boredom, and but I didn't. I honestly quite enjoyed the game. In the scene, I I found the information that you gather from it interesting, but that information, like I said, it just doesn't seem to stitch together well with the rest of what's going on. It's like, what does this have to do with the rest of what's going on? It's just sort of like it would have been better as a DLC, like a DLC chapter to go through, like a good hour-long chapter, and it would have been good money as well, because that would have been a really good chapter to do for a DLC. As for the actual parts of the DLC, though, not past the information, actually the gameplay and the scenes that go on within that chapter. Did I just call it a DLC? I did just call it a DLC. Sorry about that. I mean the chapter. And the scenes that go on within the chapter were excellent, I thought. Very, very exciting gameplay. In fact, some of the most exciting gameplay happens in that scene. In that chapter, sorry. Oh my god, I'm getting my words mixed up. But yeah, as I said, Beyond Two Souls is probably my favourite game this year so far. I was happily surprised, because so far my favourite game of the year has been Tomb Raider. Again, it's a having Tomb Raider as your favourite game of the year is a very unpopular opinion at the moment. It's either GTA 5 or Last of Us or Bioshock. Bioshock I didn't really like that much. But at the moment my top 5 list is number 1 is Beyond Two Souls, number 2 is Tomb Raider, number 3 is The Last of Us, number 4 is GTA 5, and number 5 is probably Bioshock Infinite. I can't remember. But yeah, that's the current way of it. I'm very, very pleased with what I've played of Beyond Two Souls. I haven't played the Advanced Experiments DLC yet, but I'll probably will play that at some point. At the moment, I'm waiting for 8 o'clock, because 8 o'clock UK time, the Dark Souls servers go live. Dark Souls 2 servers go live for the network beta test, which I managed to get a key for. So I'm really happy about that. I can't wait to have another go. I played it Eurogamer, so I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, if you haven't played Beyond Two Souls, you've been thinking about getting it, then I really strongly encourage it. It was a great game, great experience. If you're not keen on the whole, not a lot of gameplay stuff, and just a narrative and all that, then I wouldn't. It's not going to change your mind. It's still exactly the same. It's very much the same as Heavy Rain. But if you like that kind of thing, then definitely go give it a go. So yeah, that's all I've got to say really. If anyone's got any questions, or if anyone wants to talk about, if any of you guys who watch my videos want to have a Skype chat and talk about some questions, and we'll go proper full spoilers. We'll go like full spoilers, like talking about the story and what happened in the story and that kind of thing. Then we'll go for it. And because I would enjoy talking about the narrative more, as the kind of the details and whether you enjoyed it or not. So yeah, this has been Hazo, Smart-Arse Gamer episode 3. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.